Dr. Yao Safo. Doc,
Kofi,
yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, that's great. How's everything?
It's been a wonderful week. Weather has been a bit dull. It's been relatively cold, as Ghanaians say it, but yeah, it's been a good week thus far.
I hear it's now the Abrichra Bagana kind of weather.
Absolutely. I mean, Kofi, I see people in their winter clothing. I think I can't thermal underwear, but we're set. I
Okay.
think that it's about 20 degrees.
Interesting. Last week we started that conversation on breastfeeding. You told us a lot about the benefits of breastfeeding. You gave us some key facts as well as some of the challenges, with the breastfeeding supplements, or if I should say, alternatives, if I should say. And you promised that we're going to expand the conversation this week and look at what the way is whilst going forward. And so please take it away. What are we learning today?
Right. So, Kofi, last week as well, I asked a question. I hope we get to answer it this week, comparing whether or not the agenda, or when I asked whether the agenda differences, whether the male babies breastfeed more than the female babies. As for the adults question, I think that one, Philip has settled it. So we'll take that question when we open the phone lines. I think we'll let every mother tell us their experiences with breastfeeding. Right. So last week we looked at some of the benefits of breastfeeding, and I also made a statement that without a doubt, breastfeeding is superior to using any form of breast milk substitute. In the rare instance that the medical condition of the mother will not allow for breastfeeding to be initiated or sustained, then we will introduce substitutes as appropriately recommended by your doctor or midwife. In sometime around, I think, 2006, the WHO and UNICEF initiated or introduced what we call the baby-friendly hospital initiative. And Kofi, I'm sure most of our listeners have heard about this, or sometimes you go into a health facility and you would see a big poster there that says that this is a baby-friendly hospital. Well, that's a WHO UNICEF initiative, which was to help to motivate health facilities providing maternity and newborn services to implement what we call the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. The 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. So if you find that poster, baby-friendly hospital, then it means that that hospital implements, or that health facility implements, the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. So today, I'm going to look at the 10 steps with our listeners. Number one, and one is broken into three parts. There are three clauses under one. So 1A, it says that institution must comply fully with what is known as the code, or in full, the International Code of Marketing Breast Milk Substitutes. The International Code of Marketing Breast Milk Substitutes. So, in simple terms, when we say formula feed or baby milk, then that is what we mean by the breast milk substitute. This code was developed and adopted by the World Health Assembly in 1981. So it's not a recent thing. The code, which has been developed on marketing breast milk substitutes, is an important part of creating an overall environment that enables the mother to make the best possible feeding choice based on impartial information and information free of commercial influences. And the mother should be fully supported in doing so. So this code is very, very important. It allows every mother to make the right decision regarding breastfeeding. I must say that the breast milk substitute is a huge market. Kofi, the data shows that in 2014, that market stood at 44.8 billion United States dollars. 44.8 billion, and it was projected to rise to 70.6 billion United States dollars by 2019. So it's a huge market out there, and we should not forget the commercial influences behind some of the reasons why they push for breast milk substitutes. So this WHO code on marketing breast milk substitutes regulates how you can use or promote and utilize these breast milk substitutes. Kofi, let me share some important points on the code. Number one, there should be no advertising or other form of promotion of breast milk substitutes to the general public. And this will include advertising through mass media outlets such as television, magazines, billboards, websites, or social media. So that's what the code says, that there should be no advertising or other form of promotion of breast milk substitutes to the general public. Number two, the code explicitly states that manufacturers and distributors of breast milk substitutes should not provide so-called samples of their products to pregnant women, to mothers, or members of their families. Number three, the code again states that promotion through other means, such as special displays, discounted coupons, price reductions, or special sales, is also prohibited. Lastly, the code says no company personnel of the manufacturers or distributors should seek direct or indirect contact with or provide advice to pregnant women or mothers, whether this is in the retail outlet or through social media channels. So, Kofi, this is what the code, the WHO International Code of Marketing Breast Milk Substitutes, this is what it states.
But this is serious, Doc. This is really serious. I mean,
Kofi, I'm sure you know that there are breaches.
Yes, because
of this code.
Yes, because example, the very first point that you gave, that there shouldn't be any advertising, or any other form of promotion to the general public. This comes as a surprise to me, because I've seen all these BMS products. Advertisements on TV. I've heard some on radio, and so I'm surprised. But my concern is with the fact that it looks like it gives breastfeeding the upper hand.
Yes. So that's the whole point. We want to promote breastfeeding as a superior way of feeding newborns, particularly in the first 6 months of life. All right. And unfortunately, we are seeing the reverse, which is that breast milk substitutes are being pushed. And because of this, the World Health Assembly in 1981, way back 1981, came up with this code. And WHO and UNICEF again launched the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative. So, Kofi, the point is that if you declare yourself as a baby-friendly health facility, then on your television screens, in your magazines that you display in the hospital, you should not have any of these things. It is not legally binding. Very few countries have adopted laws to incorporate this code. So it is more of an advisory code. But there are so many members of the WHO and World Health Assembly. Ghana is a member, and therefore, this is what we mean when we say a hospital is baby-friendly. Number one, management must comply fully with the international code. Number two, management should ensure that the staff of the hospital have sufficient knowledge, competence, and skills to support breastfeeding. So part of what we are doing from last week is to ensure that we all have sufficient knowledge regarding breastfeeding. The third step is to discuss the importance and management of breastfeeding with pregnant women and their families. So, Kofi, during the antenatal clinic attendance, which we encourage all pregnant women to attend, we will discuss breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is a major, major topic. And if you look at the schedule that we have for breastfeeding mothers, for pregnant mothers, then minimum you would have 4 visits, minimum. And then usually most people will have 8 visits. So during these 8 visits, there's ample opportunity for the midwives, for the doctors, for the physician assistants to all discuss the importance and management of breastfeeding with pregnant women. The 4th step to breastfeeding, successful breastfeeding, is to facilitate immediate and uninterrupted skin-to-skin contact and support mothers to initiate breastfeeding as soon as possible after birth. So, Kofi, the recommendation is that the baby comes out, the baby's skin must touch the mother's skin, must make contact, direct contact, not through a cloth that is wrapped around the baby, which is what we usually see on television and in movies. But in reality, what needs to happen is that baby comes out, we wipe the baby, and then it goes directly skin-to-skin contact, and we initiate breastfeeding within the first 30 minutes of life if the newborn has no medical indications that prevents that. The 5th step is to support mothers to initiate and maintain breastfeeding and manage some of the common difficulties. So newborn mothers, first-time mothers, usually have challenges breastfeeding. Some women also, depending on the anatomy of the nipple, some would have inward nipples instead of the nipple projecting outwards. The nipples appear too big to fit into the mouth. They must be taught how to initiate and maintain breastfeeding, and the midwives are brilliant at doing that. Point number 6.
Okay, Doc, before you go on to point number 6, I have to thank you for the first 5 points, but let me also remind our listeners that you're still on Drive on Joy, and this is Drive Chat. We're having a conversation with Dr. Yao Safo, CEO of Medicas Hospital, and we're looking at the part 2 of breastfeeding, especially, how to successfully breastfeed your child. 10 steps to successfully breastfeed your child. Now, in a few minutes, we're going to activate the phones so that if any mothers have any questions, they can put them out to Doc and also share some of the experiences with us. Doc, please take it away.
Right. So step number 6, do not provide breastfed newborns any food or fluids other than breast milk unless medically indicated. So the recommendation, Kofi, is that the first 6 months of life, from the moment the neonate is born up to the first 6 months, we say exclusive breastfeeding. Most of the time, I've heard mothers complain to me that, "Oh, doctor, and breast monofunsono and sono." I'm like, how do you know that it is not enough? And too early before that. So just feed more. So there's recommendation for the frequency of feeding, which is usually every 3 hours. You must breastfeed, and then you must breastfeed for not less than 30 minutes, or we would say the recommendation 30 minutes to an hour when you put the baby actually to breast. That is how long you should breastfeed, and it should happen every 3 hours. Step number 7, we should enable mothers and their infants to remain together and to practice what we call rooming in the first 24 hours or 24 hours a day. Except again, medically contraindicated, then meaning that the child or the newborn is taken to, say, the neonatal intensive care unit, we strongly encourage that the newborn lies in the same room in the bed with the mother. It encourages frequent breastfeeding. Step number 8, let's support mothers to recognize and respond to their infants' cues for feeding. So most women are very good at that. We do not want to wait until the newborn is crying before you put the newborn to breast. And there are a lot of different cues that, if you pay attention, you are able to pick up and know that the way my newborn is behaving, I think it needs to be breastfed. So you pay attention, and every newborn is unique. Step number 9, counsel mothers on the use and risk of feeding bottles, teats, and pacifiers. So, Kofi, most of the time we see these things, especially I'm going to talk about the teats and then the pacifiers. Because sometimes some women want, or mothers, newborn, new mothers or first-time mothers want to have, quote, peace of mind, and they are tired from the long nights staying awake and all of that. We tend to go for pacifiers, and we put this in the mouth of the newborns to stop them from crying, and therefore we also then get some time to be able to sleep off. But we strongly discourage that kind of or that behavior, because gradually you'll step into the mode where you're not feeding the child as often as you should. And the last step, all hospitals should coordinate discharge so that the parents, the new parents, and their infants have timely access to ongoing support and care. It is so important that every new mother or new parent have the adequate support from in-laws, from their own parents, from friends, to support them to be able to breastfeed the child. So, Kofi, there you go.
Yeah.
The 10 steps to successful breastfeeding.
Thank you very, very much, Doc. So we're activating the phones right now, 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. We started this conversation last week, and we're continuing today. If you have any questions with regards to breastfeeding, please give us a call right now. Share your experiences with us. And Dr. Yao Safo, who is the CEO of Medical's Hospital, will take them and answer them. So, yeah, 0302-216-541. If you're on Twitter, you can use the hashtag #DriveOnJoy to ask your question, and then we're going to give it out to Doctor to answer it for you. But if it's a call, 0302-216-541. In the meantime, a happy birthday going out to Dr. Brima Mahama of the University of Ghana Business School. We're wishing you loads of love, great health, and and all the good things that happen, yeah? God bless your new age. We have a call on the line. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you so much for the very important program you are having right now, and thanks, Doc, for all the information. I have one question, though.
Okay.
So, Doc indicated that it's not legally binding. That's the breastfeeding code.
Yes.
But I'm aware that we have a legislative instrument in Ghana, that's LI 1667, which is the breastfeeding promotion regulations. Has it been withdrawn? Because I know that regulation is legally binding, LI 1667 of 2000.
Okay. All right. So the point I made was...
Doc, please, before you answer that, let's take one more question, and then you can take both at the same time. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, your name and where you're calling us from, please.
My name is I'm calling from Tepequashi.
Okay, please, we're listening to you.
Yes. So I have a question to the doc.
Okay.
You know, in certain situations where mothers, after giving birth, go through some medical challenges and they are not able to breastfeed.
Yeah, right.
I know he's encouraging people to breastfeed. How about those babies who never actually receive breast milk because of a medical condition of a mother? And I know in Ghana we don't have a breast milk bank where people can comfortably go for breast milk to feed their babies, unless of course there's one that he can educate us about.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, Doc. So you heard them, the legal aspect, and then also, the second one which you talked about.
Right. So I'll make the point again. And thanks for the information that he pulled up regarding the LI.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I made was that the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, which was launched by the WHO and UNICEF, which promotes the implementation of the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding, is not a legally binding code. Ghana, like many other countries, I'm thinking about 179 members of the World Health Assembly, all signed up to the code. But then it was left to individual countries to then promulgate laws in their countries to make it legally binding. And at the last check, I think it was only 37 countries out of the 179 or so we have made laws to make this baby 10 steps to successful breastfeeding legally binding in their countries and territories. So when you take it from the top, that is the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative. That in itself is not legally binding. But then the countries have to then promulgate legislation to make it legally binding in their country. If the ally that he cited, which I'm not familiar with, has made it legally binding in Ghana, then we have a big problem on our hands, because then that law is not biting. And we have to make it bite.
Okay.
Now to the second question,
right.
which is Ya's question about challenges with breastfeeding.
Right.
Again, we are talking about the general recommendation, and there are few instances where, and as a practicing physician, I can tell you that there are instances that occur where mother cannot produce breast milk shortly after birth.
Right.
They are not able to. They have medical problems why they are not able to. Sometimes the mother is on certain medications that will find its way into the breast milk that may be harmful to the newborn.
Mm-hmm.
And in those instances, then we would recommend the breast milk substitute. So there is a place for breast milk substitute,
mm-hmm.
but we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that it is a big industry out there, and sometimes the commercial reasons why these things are being promoted over breast milk. So let doctors take that. And unfortunately, some doctors and some hospitals too are guilty of accepting donations and monies from the manufacturers and distributors of these products and promote them as superior
to breast milk.
Right. They are not.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Yao Safo. I mean, we're running out of time, but I know that you touched on last week the key facts with regards to breastfeeding. You gave us the benefits of breastfeeding, the challenges associated with the BMS, and then today you've taught us 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. Please put your contact out. If any of our listeners want to reach out to you after the show, they could do so.
Right. So I know many people have their questions, and they can reach me on 0501 477 340. 0501 477 340. The entire team is available to take questions and to help those who need advice on breastfeeding.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Yao Safo. We'll speak with you again.